Robert's late for his dinner again, as usual. I don't see why Ruth puts up with it, and I've told her so. Many's the time I've said to her, it's time you put a stop to his nonsense. Does he suppose you're running a hotel with no one to help with things?
Robbie's always late for things. He can't help it, Sarah.
Can't help it. Oh, how you do go on, Kate, finding excuses for him. Anyone can help anything they've a mind to, as long as they've got health and ain't rendered helpless like me, through the will of God.
Robbie can't.
Can't. It do make me mad, Kate Mayo, to see folks that God gave all the use of their limbs to pottering around and wasting time doing everything the wrong way.
Things might be worse. Robert never had any experience with farming. Can't expect him to learn it all in a day.
Well, he's had 3 years to learn. And he's getting worse instead of better. And not just your place, but mine too. It's drifting to rack and ruin. I can't do nothing to prevent.
You can't say, but Robbie works hard, Sarah.
What good's working hard when you don't accomplish anything, I'd like to know?
Robbie's had bad luck against him.
Oh, you say what you've a mind to, Kate. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. You can't deny that things have gone from bad to worse around here since your husband died 2 years back.
It was God's will that he should be taken.
It was God's punishment on James Mayo for the blaspheming and denying to God he'd done all his sinful life. There, Kate. I shouldn't be reminding you. I know. He's at peace, poor man, and forgive him. Let's pray. You know what Ruth told me last night? Oh, well, I forgot. She said not to tell you. Still, I think you got a right to know. And it's my duty not to let such things go on behind your back.
You can tell me if you want to.
Robert told her he's going to have to mortgage the farm. Said he didn't know how he's going to pull through till harvest without it. He can't get money any other way. Now, what do you think of your Robert?
If it has to be.
Oh, you don't mean you're going to sign away your farm, Kate Mayo, after me warning you?
I'll do what Robbie says is needful.
Well, of all the foolishness. Well, it's your farm, not mine. I've nothing more to say.
Maybe Robbie will manage till Andy gets back and sees to things. It can't be long now.
Ruth says Andy ought to turn up any day.
I wonder if he's changed much. He used to be so fine-looking and strong. 3 years. It seems more like 300. Oh, if James could only have lived long enough to see him come back and forgiven him.
Well, he never would have. Not James Mayo. Didn't he keep his heart hardened against him till the last, in spite of all you and Robert did to soften him up?
Don't you dare say that. Oh, I know deep down in his heart he forgave Andy, though he was too stubborn ever to own up to it. It was that brought on his death, breaking his heart all on account of his stubborn pride.
It was the will of God. Oh, drat that young one. Seems as though she cries all the time on purpose, just to set a body's nerves on edge.
It's the heat that upsets her. Mary doesn't feel any too well these days. Poor little child.
For heaven's sakes, if there's no scorcher. My kitchen's like a furnace.
Why didn't you call me in to help with the dishes?
Oh no, the heat may kill you.
Can't you keep that child still? Her racket's enough to split a body's ears.
So when did Robin try to get to meals once in a while on time?
Something must have gone wrong again.
So, it's always going wrong these days, looks like.
Well, it wouldn't if you possessed a bit of spunk. The idea of you permitting him to come into meals at all hours and you doing the work, I never heard of such a thing. You're too easygoing. That's the trouble.
Stop nagging at me, Ma. I'm sick of hearing you. I'll do as I please about it, and thank you for not interfering. too hot to argue. Let's talk of something pleasant. Didn't I hear you speaking about Andy a while ago?
We were wondering when he'd get home.
Rob says any day now he's liable to drop in and surprise us. Well, him and the captain. It'll certainly look natural to see him around the farm again.
Well, let's hope the farm will look more natural, too, when he's had a hand at it. The way things are now.
Stop harping on that, Ma. We all know things aren't as they might be. What's the good of your complaining all the time?
Huh, there, Kate Mayo. Ain't that just what I told you? Can't say a word of advice to my own daughter, even. She's that stubborn and self-willed.
For goodness sakes, Ma.
Never mind. Andy'll fix everything when he comes.
Suppose it isn't Rob's fault things go wrong with him.
Oh, land of Goshen, but it's baking in here. Come on, Kate. Let's go out in under the trees and back where there's a breath of fresh air. You better come too, Ruth. It'd do you good. Learn him a lesson. Let him get his own dinner. Don't be such a fool.
I wouldn't mind. He doesn't eat much. I can't go anyway. I've got to put baby to bed.
Come, Kate. Let's go. It's boiling in here.
That sun is hot today. How is this little girl of mine on this hot day?
Don't do that to her. You know it's time for her nap. Get her all waked up and then I'll be the one that'll have to sit beside her till she falls asleep.
You needn't bother. I'll put her to bed.
I get back to work, I suppose.
Yes, I was forgetting. Reading Andy's letter again?
A right to read it, haven't I? He says it's meant for all of us.
Right. Well, don't be so silly. It's no question of right. I was only saying you must know all that's in it after so many readings.
Well, I don't. Supposed to be wanting your dinner now.
I'm not hungry.
And here I've been keeping it hot for you.
Oh. All right. Bring it in. I'll try to eat.
For goodness sakes, put down that old book. Just your dinner's getting cold.
Excuse me, Ruth. I didn't notice.
I should think you might have some feeling for me, Rob. And I'd always be late to meals. If you think it's fun sweltering in that oven of a kitchen to keep things warm for you, you're mistaken.
I'm sorry, Ruth. Well, really, I am. Something crops up every day to delay me. I mean to be here on time.
Mean twos don't count.
Then punish me, Ruth. Let the food get cold. Don't bother about me.
I'd have to wait just the same to wash up after you.
But I can wash up.
Fine mess there'd be then.
You know, the food is lucky. To be able to get cold. There's weather.
Besides, you've your own work that needs to be done.
Yes, of course.
Work you'll never get done by reading books all the time.
Why do you persist in nagging at me for getting pleasure out of reading? Is it because...
Because I'm too stupid to understand them, I suppose you're
No,
trying to say.
why do you goad me into saying things that I don't mean? Haven't I got my share of troubles trying to work this cursed farm without you adding to them? You know how hard I've been trying to keep things going in spite of bad luck.
Bad luck?
Why can't we pull together? We used to. So why can't we help each other instead of hindering?
I do the best I know how.
I know you do. So let's both of us try to do better. We both can improve. Say a word of encouragement once in a while. When things go wrong, even if it is my fault. Well, you know the odds I've been up against. Since Pa died. I'm not a farmer. Never claimed to be one. But, you know, there's nothing else I can do. Under the circumstances, I've got to find a way to pull things through somehow. With your help, I can do it. With you against me. So you promised me that. And I'll promise to be here when the clock strikes. Anything else you ask me to. Is it a bargain?
Suppose so. Someone's at the door. Ben.
What's the trouble now, I wonder? Come on in here, Ben. Well, Ben. What's the matter?
The mowing machine's bust.
That can't be. Man fixed it only last week.
It's bust just the same.
You can't fix it?
No. I don't know what's the matter with the gall darn thing. It won't work anyhow.
All right, wait a minute. I'll go and look it over. Well, there can't be much the matter with it.
It don't make no difference to me whether there be or not. I'm quitting here.
You don't mean you're throwing up your job here, Ben.
That's what. My month's up today, and I want what's owing to me.
Why are you quitting now, Ben? When you know I've got so much work on hand. I'll have a hard time finding another man on such short notice.
That's for you to figure. I'm quitting here.
But what's your reason? You haven't any complaints to make about the way you've been treated here, have you?
No. It ain't that. Looky here. I'm tired of being made fun at, that's what. And I got a job up to Tim's place, and I'm quitting
You're
here.
being made fun of? I don't understand you. Who's making fun of you?
They all do. When I drive out with the milk every morning, they all laughs and jokes at me. That new feller up to Slocum's and the boy at Harris's and Bill Evans down to Mead's. They all do.
Well, that's a queer reason for leaving me flat. Well, now, won't they laugh at you just the same when you were working for Tim's?
They wouldn't dare to. Tim's is the best farm hereabouts. They was laughing at me for working for you, that's what. How are things up at the Mayo place? They hollers at me every morning. Well, what's Robert doing today? Is he pasturing the cattle in the corn lot? Is he seasoning his hay with rain this year, same as last? Or, has he invented a new electrical milking engine what can fool them dry cows of his into giving hard cider? Now that's like they talk, and I ain't willing to put up with it any longer. Everyone's always known me hereabouts as a good hand, and I'm not willing to change any minds about that. So I'm quitting here, and I want what's coming to me.
Well, if that's the case, you can go to the devil. You'll get your money tomorrow when I get back from town. Not before.
That suits me. And see that you do, or there'll be trouble.
Well, that's an example of what I'm up against. No one can say I'm responsible for that.
He wouldn't dare act that way with anyone else. It's lucky Andy's coming back.
Yes. Andy'll know what to do in a jiffy. Oh, I wonder if the old chump's changed much. Doesn't seem to from his letters. Just the same. I doubt he'll want to settle down to a humdrum farm life after all he's been through.
Andy's not like you. He likes the farm.
Things he's seen and experienced. And think of the places he's been. All those wonderful, far-off places I used to dream about. God, how I envy him. What a trip.
Suppose you're sorry now you didn't go.
Oh. Those cursed hills. I used to think promised me so much. Oh, I've grown to hate the sight of them. They're like the narrow walls of a prison yard, just shutting me in from all the freedom and wonder of life. Sometimes I think, if it wasn't for you, Ruth, and little Mary, I'd chuck everything up, just walk down that road. One desire in my heart, put the whole rim of the world between me and those damned hills and be able to just breathe freely once more. Oh, there I go. Dreaming again. My old fool dreams.
You're not the only one.
And Andy, who's had the chance. What's he made of it? His letters read like the diary of a farmer. We're in Singapore now. It's a dirty hole of a place and hotter than hell. 2 of the crew are down with the fever and we're short-handed on the work. I'll be damn glad when we set sail again, although tacking back and forth on those blistering seas is a rotten job too. Yeah, it's about the way he summed up his impression of the East.
You needn't make fun of Andy.
You know, when I think, what's the use? You know, I wasn't making fun of Andy personally. It's his attitude towards things.
Still making fun of him. And I ain't gonna stand for it. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. A fine one to talk about anyone else after the way you've ruined everything with your lazy loafing and the stupid way you do things.
Stop that kind of talk, you hear?
Finding fault with your own brother, who is 10 times the man you ever was or ever will be. You're jealous. That's what. Jealous because he's made a man of himself while you are nothing but a...
Ruth! Ruth! You'll be sorry for talking like that.
I won't ever be sorry. I'm only saying what I've been thinking for years.
Ruth, you can't mean that.
You think you are so much better than other folks. With your college education and always reading stupid books instead of working. I suppose you think I ought to be proud to be your wife. A poor, ignorant thing like me. But I'm not. And I hate the sight of you. If I'd only known.
Now I'm finding out what you're really like. What a creature I've been living with. God! How mean and small you are. I kept telling myself I must be wrong. Like a fool. Like a damned fool.
You were saying you'd go out on the road if it wasn't for me? Well, you can go. And the sooner the better. I don't care. I'll be glad to get rid of you. And the farm? I'll be better off, too. There's been a curse on it ever since you took hold, so go and be a tramp like you always wanted. It's all you're good for. I can get along without you just fine. Don't worry. Andy's coming. Don't forget that. He'll attend to things the way they should be. He'll show what a man can do. I don't need you. Andy's coming.
What do you mean?
I love Andy. I do. I always did. And he loves me. He loves me. I know he did. He always did. And you know he did too. So go. Go if you want to.
Slut!
Andy?
Stop! You better go into Mary's room. I'll meet Andy.
Ahoy there, all!
There. That's better, dear. Dad doesn't want to play today. He's got a bad headache. Do you want Dad to go away? Far, far away. Oh, don't worry, baby. He won't go away. He was only joking. He can never leave his little Mary.
Well, here you are, eh?
Hello, Andy.
Oh, and who's this young lady I find you all alone with, eh? Who's this pretty young lady? Ruth told me I'd probably find you up topside here, but I'd have guessed it anyway. Still up to your old tricks, you old beggar. I remember how you used to come up here to mope and dream in the old days.
Well, I come up here now because it's the coolest place on the farm. I've given up dreaming.
I don't believe it. You can't have changed that much. Say, it sure brings back old times to be up here with you, having a chin all by our lonesomes again. I feel great being back home.
It's great for us to have you back.
I've been looking over the old place with Ruth. Things don't seem to
Look,
be...
never mind about the damn farm. Let's talk about something interesting. You know, this is the first chance I've had to have a word with you alone. Well, tell me about your trip.
Well, I thought I told you everything in my letters.
Your letters were sketchy, to say the least.
Oh, I know I'm no author. You needed to be afraid of hurting my feelings. I'd rather go through a typhoon again than write a letter.
But then you were through a typhoon?
Yes, in the China Sea. Had to run before it under bare poles for 2 days. I thought we were bound down for Davy Jones, sure. Never dreamed waves could get so big or the wind blow so hard. If it hadn't been for Uncle Dick being such a good skipper, we'd have gone to the sharks, all of us. As it was, we came out minus a main top mast and had to beat back to Hong Kong for repairs. But I must have written you all this.
You never mentioned it.
Well, there was so much dirty work getting things ship-shape again, I must have forgotten about it.
Forget a typhoon. You know, the sea doesn't seem to have impressed you very favorably.
I should say it didn't. I'll never set foot on a ship again if I can help it. Except to carry me someplace I can't get to by train.
But you studied to become an officer.
I had to do something or I got mad. The days were like years. And as for the East, we used to rave about, well, you ought to see it and smell it. One walk down one of their filthy, narrow streets with the tropical sun beating on it would sicken you for life with the wonder and mystery you used to dream of.
What, so all you found in the East was a stench?
A stench? 10,000 of them.
But you did like some places. Judging from your letters. Sydney? Buenos Aires?
Yes. Sydney's a good town. But Buenos Aires, there's the place for you. Oh, Argentine's a country where a fella has a chance to make good. You're right. I like it. I tell you, Rob, that's right where I'm going just as soon as I've seen you folks a while and can get a ship. I can get a berth as second officer and I'll jump the ship when I get there.
So, you're not going to stay on the farm?
Why, sure not. Did you think I was? There wouldn't be any sense. One of us is enough to run this little place.
I suppose it does seem small to you now.
You've no idea, Rob, what a splendid place the Argentine is. I had a letter from a marine insurance chap that I made friends with in Hong Kong to his brother, who's in the grain business in Buenos Aires. He took quite a fancy to me, and what's more important, he offered me a job if I'd come back there. I'd have taken it on the spot, only I couldn't leave Uncle Dick in the lurch, and I promise you folks to come home.
That's fine. For you, Andy.
There's something I want to talk to you about, Rob. The farm. You don't mind, do you?
No.
I walked it over this morning with Ruth and she told me about things. I mean, I could see the place had run down, but you mustn't blame yourself. When luck's against anyone.
Don't, Andy. It is my fault. You know it as well as I do. The best I've ever done was just make ends meet.
I got over 1,000 saved and you can have
No,
that.
you need that for your start in Buenos Aires.
I don't. I can manage.
Everything will be on sound footing after the harvest. Don't worry about it.
Maybe. It's too bad Pa couldn't have lived to see things through. It cut me up a lot, hearing he was dead. He never softened up, did he? About me, I mean.
He never understood. That's a kinder way of putting it. He does now.
You've forgotten all about what caused me to go. Haven't you, Rob? I was a slushier damn fool in those days than you were. But it was an act of providence I did go. It opened my eyes to how I'd been fooling myself. I'd forgotten all about that. Before I'd been at sea 6 months.
You're speaking of Ruth?
Yes. I didn't want you to get false notions in your head or I wouldn't say anything. I'm telling you the truth when I'd say I'd forgotten long ago. I know it don't sound well for me, getting over things so easy, but I guess it never amounted to more than a kid idea I was letting rule me. I'm certain now I was never in love. I was getting fun out of thinking I was, and being a hero to myself. I'll tell Ruth too, if I can get up the nerve.
You know, perhaps, for her sake, you better not tell her.
For her sake? Oh. You mean she wouldn't want to be reminded of my foolishness? Still, I think it'd be worth...
Just do what you please, Andy, but for God's sake, let's not talk about it. Excuse me, Andy. Is this rotten headache? Is my nerve shot to pieces?
It's all right, Rob. As long as you're not sore at me.
Where'd Uncle Dick disappear to this morning?
Oh, he went down to the port to see to things on the Sunday. He said he didn't know exactly when he'd be back.
Jake wants to see you about something. He finished working where he was. He's waiting for you at the road.
I'll go down right away.
And take Mary with you, please. So nice and cool up here. After the house.
Yes. It's great.
I've taken a holiday in honor of your arrival. I feel so free. I'd like to have wings and fly over the sea. You're a man. You can't know how awful and stupid it is cooking and washing dishes all the time.
I can guess.
Besides, your mother just insisted on getting your first dinner to home. She's that happy at having you back. You'd think I was planning to poison you, the flurried way she shooed me out of the kitchen.
That's just like Ma, bless her.
And she's missed you terrible. We all have. You can't deny the farm has.
Things are run down, that's a fact. It's too darn hard on poor old Rob.
It's his own fault. Never takes any interest in things.
You can't blame him. He wasn't born for it. I know he's done his best. For your sake. And the old folks. And your little girl.
Yes. I suppose he has. Thank the Lord all those days are over now. That hard luck Rob's always blaming won't last long once you take hold, Andy. All the farms ever needed was someone with a knack of looking ahead and preparing for what was going to happen.
Yes. Rob hasn't got that. He's frank to own up to that himself. I'm gonna hire a good man for him. An experienced farmer to work the place on a salary and percentage. That'll take it off of Rob's hands, and he needed to be worrying himself to death anymore. He looks all worn out, Ruth. He ought to be careful.
Why would you want to hire a man to oversee things?
Oh,
It seems as if now that you're back, it shouldn't be needful.
no, of course I'll attend to everything while I'm here. I mean, after I'm gone.
Gone?
Yes, when I leave for the Argentine again.
You're going away to sea.
Not at sea, no. I'm through with the sea for as good as a job. I'm going down to Buenos Aires to get in the grain business. I've got a peach of a chance down there, Ruth. Ask Rob if I haven't. I've just been telling him all about it.
Didn't he try to stop you from going?
No, of course not. Why?
It's just like him.
Rob's too good a chum to try and stop me when he knows I'm set on a thing. And he could see as soon as I told him what a good chance it was.
And you're bound on going.
Sure thing. No, I don't mean right off. I'll have to wait for a ship sailing there for quite a while, likely. Anyway, I want to stay to home and visit with you folks a spell before I go.
I suppose. You can't go, Andy. You can't. Why, we've all thought. We've all been hoping and praying you was coming home to stay. To settle down on the farm and see to things. You mustn't go. Think of how your ma'll take on if you go, and how the farm will be ruined if you leave it to Rob to look after. You can see that.
Rob hasn't done so bad. When I get a man to direct things, the farm will be safe enough.
But your ma, think of her.
In a couple of years down there, I'll make my pile. See if I don't. And then I'll come back and settle down and turn this farm into the crackiest place in the whole state. In the meantime, I can help you both from down there. I tell you, Ruth, I'm going to make good right from the minute I land. If working hard and a determination to get on can do it, and I know they can. I tell you, I feel ripe for bigger things than settling down here. The trip did that for me anyway. It showed me the world is a larger proposition than ever I thought it was in the old days. I mean, I couldn't be content anymore stuck here like a fly in molasses. It all seems trifling somehow. You ought to be able to understand what I feel.
Yes, I suppose I ought. What did Rob tell you about me?
Tell about you? Why, nothing.
You telling me the truth, Andy Mayo? Didn't he say
No.
that I had...
No, he didn't mention you. I can remember. Why? What made you think he did?
I wish I could tell if you were lying or not.
What are you talking about? I didn't used to lie to you, did I? And what in the name of God is there to lie for?
Are you sure? Well, you swear it isn't the reason. The same reason that made you go last time that's driving you away again? Because if it is, I was gonna say, you mustn't go on that account.
Oh, well, you needed to worry about that no more. I don't blame you, Ruth. Feeling embarrassed having me around again after the way I played the dumb fool about going away last time. Oh, I know I ought to talk about such foolishness to you. Still, I figure it's better to get it out of my system so we three could be together same years ago and none of us be worried thinking one of us might have the wrong notion.
Andy,
Let
please
me
don't.
finish now that I've started. It'll help clear things up. I don't want you to think once a fool, always a fool, and be upset all the time I'm here on my full account. I want you to believe I put all that silly nonsense back of me a long time ago. And now, it seems, well, as if you'd always been my sister. That's what, Ruth.
For God's sakes, Andy, won't you please stop talking?
Seems if I put my foot in it whenever I open my mouth today. Rob shut me up with almost the same words when I tried speaking to him about it.
You told him what you told me?
Why, sure, why not?
My God.
Why shouldn't I have?
I don't care what you do, Andy. I don't care. Just leave me alone.
Andy! I've got the great news for you, Andy. Hey, let me get my wind first. God almighty, mounting that damn hill's worse than going aloft to the skies a yard and a below. I gotta lay a bit.
I didn't look for you this soon, Uncle.
I didn't figure neither. But I run across a bit of news down to the seaman's home. Maybe about ship and set on sail back here to find you.
What is it, Uncle?
Passing by the home, I thought I'd drop in, let him know I'd be lacking a mate, counter your leaving. Well, their man in charge of shipping asked for you, special curious. Do you think he'd consider a berth as a second on a steamer captain? Well, I was going to say no. When I think so, you wanting to get back down south to the Platte again. So I asked him, what is she? Where's she bound? It's the El Paso. A brand new tramp, he says, and she's bound for Buenos Aires.
Oh, gosh, that is luck. When does she sail?
Yeah, tomorrow morning. I didn't know if you'd want to ship away again so soon. And I told him so. Tell him I'll hold the berth open for him till late this afternoon. Hey, so there you be, and you can make your own choice.
I'd like to take it. There may not be a ship sailing for Buenos Aires with a vacancy in months. Still, damned all, tomorrow morning is soon. I wish she wasn't leaving for a week or so. That'd give me a chance. Oh, it seems hard to go right away when I've just got home, and yet it's a chance at 1,000. What do you think, Rob? What would you do?
Well, he who hesitates, you know. It is a good bit of luck thrown in your way. I think you owe it to yourself to jump at it, but don't ask me to decide for you.
Yes. Go, Andy.
Yes. I guess I will. It'll be the best thing for all of us in the end. Don't you think so, Rob?
Well, that's settled.
Yes, I'll take the berth. And the sooner I go, the sooner I'll be back. That's a certainty. And I won't come back with empty hands next time. You bet I won't.
You ain't got so much time, Andy. To make sure, you best leave here as soon as you can. I've got to get right back aboard. You best come with me.
I'll go to the house and repack my bag right away.
You'll both be here for dinner, won't you?
I don't know, will there be time? What time is it now, I wonder?
Mom's been getting dinner especially for you, Andy.
Oh, Helen, I was forgetting. Of course I'll stay for dinner if I miss every damn ship in the world. Come on, Uncle, walk down with me to the house and you can tell me more about this port on the way. I gotta pack before dinner. You're coming soon, aren't you, Rob?
Yes, I'll be right down.